So hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and we are very grateful for this opportunity. We are Maya, Prat, and Stav and Zahav from Yama Gallery and Tarbut Movement. We're going to discuss from center to periphery, redefining Israel's cultural landscape.
So this is the agenda for our meeting today. We will start from who we are, then what we are part of, and then why we are doing what we are doing.
Okay, so we'll take you on a little journey. Stay tuned. First of all, who we are. So like we said, Maya and Stav, we are both 30 years old. We work as a duo of curators and creators. We do art and we work with other artists. And the way we do it is that we find people who are interesting for us to work with, and we're developing with them new works with new crowds.
We have a few circles of belongings. First of all, the city and Nahariya. We do a lot of site-specific artworks and process. Then the community, the people that live around us and with us. And secondly, third of all, the movement, Tarbut Movement, which is a nation-wide movement of artists and educators.
Yeah. So Tarbut Movement is actually a very big network of people who are dedicated to trying and narrow the gaps in the Israeli society. Thank you. How we do it? We have a lot of field work, a lot of people who are very devoted to do community work, artwork, meeting people, meeting groups, and really changing life by meeting and giving platforms for people to meet and create. And while doing that, we are also researching the subject and gathering partners and trying to impact also the public policy and make Israel more equal and more developed. Okay, so how we do it? We both joined Tarbut Movement when we were 18. And ever since we work together. We are part of a group living in Nahariya in the north of Israel, and we will show you a little bit more about it later. And like our group, we have more groups all around Israel trying to make art and culture a thing that can thrive not only in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And we have a lot of people participating, as we said. And we gathered the cultural heritage institutes from the south and the north to work together and build some resilience for our areas that are suffering a lot, especially this year. And and we also have this Institute for Public Policy because we figured out that no one is doing the research and finding the numbers that can help us tell the gap and to show the need that we will also share with you in a second.
Maya, I'm interrupting you. You said you joined Tnuat Tarbut when you were 18. Can you say, first of all, what does that mean? Like when you're 18, what does it mean to join? What is Tarbut also? Because it's a Hebrew word. Can you tell us a little more about that kind of what that is and how it happened?
Thank you. Yeah. Tarbut means culture, and Tarbut Movement was established in 2006. So we joined a bit later in 2012. And this movement, created by very young artists, also 18, was a very social way of being together and doing things differently, and that's what called me or us to join. And a way of joining was for a gap year after finishing high school and before joining the army. We had a volunteer year, and then we met people and a mission that we want to dedicate our lives to. It sounds dramatic, but for me, it's just a way to do things I believe in, really, and to do it with a lot more people together. Yeah. So just a little bit on the cultural inequality in Israel. This is a very simple graph showing basically the money per person for culture in Israel. And on top, you can see Tel Aviv, really on top, and also growing. And underneath, you can see Jerusalem. So both the big cities, big for culture. The gap between Tel Aviv to Jerusalem is also quite big. And down below, you can see the north and then other areas. The bottom one is the West Bank. And you can see also the growth is not as big. And for us, this is something we are eager to fix because people want and need art and culture everywhere.
I have just a question about this graph. Is this money comes from the government or is it supplemented by municipalities? Do you know?
No, this is only the budget that comes from the government. We will see in the next graphs the money from the municipalities.
I don't know if maybe, but and sometimes it comes through the municipalities too, but it's from originally from the government. Yeah.
From the culture
department.
Department of the government.
Okay, so the situation that we are facing and trying to give new creative solutions to is that there is no mandatory arts education in Israel. Children have sometimes some art classes, but not as many as they used to have. A lot of children growing up not studying art, they don't know how to approach it, read it, enjoy it, because they can get entertainment, but not arts. And 60%, almost 60% of the students do not have art programs in their schools. And in the periphery areas, it's much, much worse. So this is what we are trying to deal with. Okay, and now Shirali, you asked about the local governments or the municipalities. So this is maybe interesting to know that in the local municipalities, there is no culture department in many of them. Almost 60% of the municipalities just don't have it. So even if they can get some budget, they won't have the people to take it. Yeah, so this is the situation that we're dealing with. Let's move on. Okay.
And now we will do a little jump in space and time to Nahariya, which is the northest coast city in Israel. And we will tell you its story.
Okay. So Nahariya, as you can see, is right next to the border with Lebanon. And Kiryat Shmona is northern, but it's further from the beach. And Kiryat Shmona, the people there are now evacuees. So it makes Nahariya actually the northest city populated in Israel right now as we speak. Nahariya is getting bombed daily these days. but people still live here, going to safe space whenever needed.
It's placed only 10 kilometers from the border.
Yeah. But we want to tell you a bit about Nahariya, not just by now, but so you'll know the city. So we will also take you a little back in time.
I don't know if we mentioned it, but we are living in Nahariya for the last 10 years. So this is why it's so important to us to tell you about this city and what we are doing here.
Almost a decade now, yeah. Okay, so Nahariya. Nahariya is a beautiful city. It's by the beach, and we love it. It's a small place established by German Aliyah, fifth Aliyah, in the 30s. And it was the first and only Jewish settlement at the time. And they came to Nahariya thinking they will do agriculture work and try to develop fields. But these people from Germany, they had no experience in agriculture. So they ended up doing things a little different. And in the picture, you can see the Gaton River. It's the main river crossing the city. It's a very European way to build a place. And this is still the main road of Nahariya till today.
On the 40s and 50s, they understood that they are not so good in agriculture and opened some factories of industry, which we know, I believe, until these days, like Strauss, Wertheimer, Oppenheimer. So those were open at the 40s.
Yeah. And okay, keep moving. The train was going through Nahariya all the way to Beirut and Tripoli, and people used to take it. The border was open back then.
Yeah.
Okay, 60s were Nahariya's golden age. It was a resort town. People finally could enjoy the beach and have a good time in a beautiful, quiet North city. And for us, it's very interesting to look back on how it was back then.
Yeah, I think this is the best decade, at least for how people speak here about this time, Nahariya. That was like really the golden age of the city, like 60 years ago. And now we are going a little bit lower.
Can you go back one slide? It's written there, beauty queens. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So back in these days, people used to come to Nahariya for honeymoons, and also the
Beauty contests.
competitions of like pageants, beauty queens. It happened in Nahariya, and they would come there, and everybody, come to see and to say hello. So it has some cultural importance in Israel that was unique and was very much colored in good time, beauty, fun, like great ice cream, these kind of things. Yeah. Later on, things are really starting to turn for the worst. And with the first Lebanon war, we are seeing a serious damage to the city, to tourism, to the economics, and to basically everything. And a lot of the hotels are becoming nursing homes in these decades.
Yeah. In this decade, there were a lot of terror attacks from the border or from the sea. Also, a lot of really rough stories here, and that people tell until today and remember until today.
Yeah.
But just a question, it still seems that the number of residents is growing. Where are they growing from? Is it new people that are coming? Is it natural growth?
People kept coming to Nahariya in every year, all the time. It's also pretty common for cities in Israel to just grow because the population here is always growing and people are always looking for a place to live, and new people are doing Aliyah and coming to Israel all the time. So every decade, new people are coming. So Nahariya started with the German fifth Aliyah, but it became much more heterogenic during the years. A lot of people came from out of Israel, but also in Israel changed their place of living, and Nahariya was growing and still growing. Okay. So we're moving forward super fast, okay? A lot happened, but we're just giving some spots. Second Lebanon War, another aliyah of a lot of Russian speakers, some very bad crime organizations who destroyed a lot of the important cultural spots that used to be in Nahariya, and also more people coming because of tax discounts, because of how close to the border Nahariya is, and the certain risk people take by living there. So the city. Yeah.
Also about the criminal organization, it really affects the culture here in Nahariya because a lot of clubs and places for joy and hang and culture were closing because they were get bombed and got fired. I would say have just been threatened. So those were really bad years for Nahariya.
Yeah. Okay, moving forward.
Maya, do you want to tell something about the fences, the white fences?
Yeah. Yeah, so the white fences are pretty symbolic to people living in Nahariya. One of the city mayors decided to put a lot of white fences all over the city, blocking all the beaches, and you couldn't really walk freely in the city. And it's been that way for 30 years.
Why is that?
We can only guess, but maybe to control the public space, or because someone had a good business for fences. I don't know. But anyway, that's the way it was. Moving forward, we can see a picture of these fences taken down. After 30 years, we had a new mayor in Nahariya, and all these fences, it took like a year or two to take all these fences down. And now the beaches are much more open, and the public space feels more free to walk and be in. And in this time, we also came to Nahariya a little before that, so we were there to see this change. And I think the rest we will maybe mention later. But now Nahariya is almost 70,000 residents, in the city. Okay, and this is actually where our stories meet. In 2010, we arrived in Nahariya, and we just fell in love with this place and decided to stay. Became a group of 30 artists and educators, and we lived there ever since.
Yeah, We actually came 6 years later, but yeah, Tarbut Movement, the first group of Tarbut Movement came on this year.
Yeah, we came a little later. Okay.
So here you can see our community in Kabbalat Shabbat at the roof at our house in Nahariya.
Can you explain, can you go back for a moment? You say our community, you said you joined when you're 18, you're now 30, guessing with different family statuses than when you were 18. Can you say a little bit, where are you living in the city? When did you decide to actually, like, how do you skip from that 18-year-old decision of joining some grassroots movement to being 30 years old and living in the city you encountered as a teenager?
Yeah, so moving to Nahariya was a decision we made when we were probably 21, something like that, 20, yeah. And
we finished the army service.
Yeah, after we served the army also together in small groups, and we were always in touch and taking care of each other. And we kept wanting to be doing things together, and we had a lot of big plans. And Nahariya, we already had some Tarbut Movement members living there and doing things there, so we came to join them and help. And I think now, 9-10 years later, well, first of all, time flies when you love what you do, but I think we really got connected to the sense of the place and to the people and to what we do. Some of us are now planning a family or having a little family, so it's changing a lot. It's different, but we still live together on the same street or two. We are living very close to each other and doing a lot of things together. And I think our presence there is also appealing for other artists and people to come. And so our community is just getting bigger with time. Okay. So in this decade, we came to Nahariya and we saw so many great people and so many creative forces that has no platforms. And we decided to establish all kinds of little spots and places for people to be able to express themselves and to explore their abilities and ways of doing things. And all of these things started very small, very simple. Everything was done, with both hands and full heart. And now these things are really an important part of the city and of a lot of people's lives. Some people really, like I remember children that really, they're young adults now and grew in these cultural tiny institutes that are now actual institutes. So first of all, we have the community. We have a cultural community of, give and take 200 people that are coming to events and doing things together and have this sense of belonging. And we are also visiting frequently homebounded individuals that we know by the municipality services that are in need. And we have our art spaces. We have an art space for children. It's in a neighborhood. They really grow up there. And we also collaborate with the local schools, and we have art programs in schools, not just for teaching art, but sometimes for teaching, let's say, history or could be anything, but we do it with the tools of art. We have the theater club for young actors. They are doing original shows and, really doing great work. The foyer, which is a music room that is serving 150 musicians weekly. It's just a room with some instruments, but everybody's using it, and people are actually coming from pretty far just to enjoy community and some instruments and a room.
It's the only one that in this area.
Yeah. So the need is, I think the need is what's driving us. And we do some street theater project and Yama Center, which we will elaborate on now. Okay, so Yama Gallery, who became a center recently, as a case study of cultural community-based change.
So we started from gathering artists from Nahariya. We called it Ama Collective. Ama is kind of the Hebrew word for nation, I think, or the people of the nation. And we started to meet once a week, Sunday evening, and do art laboratory. And on the the end of the year, we wanted to exhibit and to show audience what we were doing for 1 year. And we started to look for places, and we understood that we don't want to exhibit in a closed gallery or place, museum, I don't know, a place that just some of the people in area goes to, but not all of them. We wanted to get to the biggest audience that we can have.
Yeah. So public space it is. We love the public space. We know it's where the people at. And we found a place, a spot, that was just dark, dirty, nowhere kind of a place. But it's on the main street, the Gaton, if you remember the Gaton River. So it's on the main street. Everybody walks by. It's on the back of the central station. So really everybody walks there. And it was 120 meter squares spot. And we thought, okay, that's actually prime location. We can fix that. And we thought we will try and do a 2 weeks exhibition, and that's it as a one-time thing, just see how it goes. We didn't know what will happen to works of art left on the street, because maybe you can't see it, but it's there is no fourth wall. It's completely open to the street.
If I remember correctly, just from way back when I found myself in the central bus station in Nahariya, this area also was quite smelly and a place for a lot of homeless people. Like, it's not just a empty space; it's also quite has its own character. So when you saw it, like, what were your thoughts about that?
We thought it's the best place for art. Yeah, it's like was yeah, just an opportunity, I think. Like when you see a need and you know that you can get in and do something.
Yeah, we thought, I mean, this place is the worst. We can make it great. But it's hard to take something that is so neglected and put the effort to it. But once you do it, others can join. So we knew we just need to be the first.
And did you need to ask for permission? Like, okay, you see a space, but it's a city. Do you ask for permission? Like, how does that work?
Yes, we did. So this space belongs to the bus station, and it's a company. They have
a lot of bus stations.
They have most central stations in Israel. They have them, and we signed a contract for these 2 weeks, saying that we can use the space for art, and yeah. And we got their permission to do it. And
tell about the nice thing in the contract. The
oh
best.
yeah, the nice thing is that we didn't know we will need it, but it automatically renewed itself. So that was great for us for later. Okay, so that was the first thing. So we cleaned, we came, we hung out, and we decided to have an opening and to call people to come, and 250 people came. And that was the first, that's actually from another event, but it was a shock for us because that's a lot of people to come for a gallery opening with no big names or anything like that, just local artists and, you know, some things we did together. But really a lot of people came and were very much excited to see new art and meet each other in an interesting cultural way. And the event was great, but what was even greater for us was that after the event, some days went by and we, you know, came to visit and see what's going on. And not only that the works weren't damaged, because we, you know, we didn't know, will someone take it, damage it, what happened? So none of it happened, but what did happen is that we saw people taking a little tour, reading the text, enjoying the exhibition. And when we talked to people, a lot of them asked us, so what's going to be on the next exhibition? And it caught us by surprise, but we figured, yeah, we can have another one. So we expanded the time of the first exhibition to work on the second one. And it's been 5 years from then, and we just kept making art exhibitions in this spot, in this piece of street. And over the time, we figured out we can come up with new ideas and to raise money and to get funds. And we hosted over 200 artists by now. Some of them are visual artists, and some, after a while, we figured the events are going so well, we should also do some live performances. We had some poetry nights that were amazing. People reading poetry on the street is always cool, but to be able to give it such a big stage was really interesting. We also gave workshops outside.
One moment, if you go back one slide, and Maya, if you can just describe what we're seeing here so that people understand kind of the space.
Yeah, so this is actually from the first event. And you can see this perspective is from the inside to the outside, so you can see the street. So the trees that you are seeing, this line of trees, behind it is the river. And that's the main street of Nahariya.
And so the space doesn't close. There's no door.
Never. It's open 24/7, every day of the week, every hour. The place is always open. So the art is attached well to the walls, but it's always open. Yeah. And I think the results are, for us, always, we're so amazed by how well it's going. No, you know what? Let's skip it because I want to have some time. Oh, no, you know what? Okay, no, it's important. I'm sorry. Yeah. We will say just a few words about who and what should be or could be exhibited in public space. Because, you know, there are, you know, great galleries and great art museums very far from Nahariya, also some that are much closer. But when we're talking about the public space, for us, it's a real playground because we can work with very diverse people and subjects, and we have a lot of freedom. And in here we can see two examples. One of here it was more of a community thing, but a little exhibition we made with our neighbors during COVID-19. We were knocking each door and asking everybody to add something for the exhibition, and everybody were just so proud and happy to participate. And also it's been a very hard year, so some of them haven't met people in a while, so it was a way to come back to life. And for us, public space is where life is happening. And on the right, you can see one of our artists working with children, creating art for the public space that is made by children, which is, I think, great because they always enjoy it. So it's nice for them to be in front.
I want to add something small that we created a platform, and when you create a platform, you have the responsibility to ask this question because you cannot keep it to yourself. Also, it's in the public space, so it belongs to the people that live there, and the public space belongs to the resident of the city. So it's a really, really, really important question that we ask ourselves. I think each exhibition, each event, who should exhibit there, what will exhibit there, who will see it, who cannot see it, and why, and what we are going to do about it.
Okay, so here is another example of finding some creative treasure within the community. Here you can see one of our friends with a lady that she came to help and realized that she is actually an artist who never studied and never exhibited, but been doing and collecting great art materials for years. And together they started working on a really big collage work you can see in the back. It's a few meters long and like 10 meters wide. It's very big work. And they've been working on it for the last 6 months. And for me, it's just so exciting that we could give this amazing woman, Chana Esther Chevroni, her first exhibition. And she's an amazing artist, even though that no one ever knew it. But now people can tell, and also for her, it's a dream that came true. Like it was her wish.
Yeah, the connection actually was made by the Homebound project.
Yeah.
When Maya came to Hannah's house and discovered all the stuff that she's creating and collecting. So, yeah.
Okay, another example is because we work in the central station, but we're not obviously not the only one working there. There are also the security people and cleaning people and bus drivers, and we became, friends with them, and they were always asking questions about the street gallery, and some of them got much more involved. They loved the space. They were really trying to always keep it clean, making sure everything is on spot. And some of them were very connected and some not as much. And we knew it was a weird thing to do, right? To just put art in that spot. And we figured we should do something together. So at some point, we were working on an exhibition with the team, the staff of the central station, and we had photo shoots together, and the person you can see on the left wrote a poem that was in the exhibition. And I think if we go a few pictures back, you can see them here. Here, this is part of that exhibition. So you could, there were big images on strips of fabric, and you can go inside and see different stories of the people on the central station. Yeah. And now we are at a very interesting point, because this whole thing, as you just heard, started in a very spontaneous way with, I mean, just something in heart and no money and nothing, and that we kept doing it. And this little experience suddenly became a center for culture. And we came to realize that if you do something well enough and long enough, and you just get this credibility of an art space, you become some kind of an institute. And at some point, after working really just on the street, we decided to also, we saw two shops that were stores that were also abandoned, and we decided to rent them, so at a good price. And
Just next to the gallery.
Right next to the gallery, just on the right. And to have a place that is also a studio, and a place where we can also gather people in a little more quiet environment, and for us to share our knowledge of working in public space and kind of make it a profession, because we figure out, well, we studied this piece of street for 5 years now and worked with 200 artists. That's a lot. We started to give residencies and programs to people, and oh yeah, thank you. Now you can see it. You can see it first. And we thought, you know what, we are now the experts to this very, very specific thing, but we know how meaningful it is, and we really wish to share it, and that maybe other people will do maybe not the same, but something similar in other spaces too. So yeah, we kept working. And our next step, we just finished successfully, and we're very, very happy and grateful for it. Crowdfunding for opening also a cafe, because we figured, you know, if we are a culture institute, we also need a place for people to have a nice cup of coffee. And in Nahariya, there is almost no such thing. We have just very
grocery stores that makes
or corporate networks that have you know, a spot, but it doesn't feel like you won't feel at home there. And we wanted a place to be a cultural cafe that people can really come and enjoy and develop ideas and develop a scene, because we don't really have an art scene, but we do have a lot of people doing art. So we thought that should be our way to give these people a real sense of home. And also for the people that are not really into art, but they are into culture and into meeting and being together. So now they can come and, I don't know, see a performance or watch the exhibition or take part in something, but they can also just have great coffee and sit with us. So
Just a question, because you had this crowdfunding at a time where people are struggling with huge things of this war in a city that is bombed daily. I mean, this week you lost sadly 2 people in the latest bombing in the city. So who are the people that did you expect this to be successful? Who are the people that are giving money for this? Can you just say a little more about that?
Yeah, so we were thinking about doing it in August. It was a little quieter, but we couldn't make it on time, and we figured, okay, so we'll do it on September. But then September was really a terrible month in Nahariya and the north, and we got bombed so heavily, and everybody were in just survival mood. Schools are closed, workspaces, not everything is working, alarms, days and night. Nobody is sleeping well. Everybody is upset. Like, we didn't know how it will work. But for us, this place is a real symbol of hope. Also, Yonah, dove, we like it because, it's pigeon. You can always see them on the street. It's very much the animal of the public space. Like, you can see pigeons everywhere, but the dove is the symbol of peace and hope and love is really what we're aiming. And we thought, we are struggling now real bad, but we know tomorrow is coming. And we know that people need something now and need something to look forward to. And in Nahariya, we have a lot of people struggling now, and we also have a lot of evacuees from the northern parts that are also staying in Nahariya now. And we really need a place to love and to meet each other. So, and apparently, and we knew it wasn't just us. We knew people need it, but we weren't sure. Like, halfway, I was thinking we're not going to make it because times were just too tough and it's harsh and I don't know. But then I don't know. People just kept sending it to each other, and people kept joining. And then the money we raised, 60% of it is from people from the north, and 30% is from Nahariya and its closed surroundings. So people from all over Israel were joining this effort, but mostly from the north because it's an actual need.
Yeah. And I also want to remind the first graph that we saw about the budget from the government. We understood that if we want the people that are doing it, it's not going to happen. It's need to be us, and it's need to be our communities here, because this is the only way to have a sustainable institute here for culture.
Yeah, and not just culture, even businesses, everything is closing now, and we don't want to live in a ghost town. We don't want to, we still live here, so it can't be deserted, it can't be closed, we can't give up. We just need to keep going and make it a place worth living and worth visiting. So for us, it's very important. So yeah, that money is for renovating the space, and we will keep raising more money to make it happen. And now maybe, I think we kind of touched it, but maybe we will dive a little deeper into it. We figured we have a really big role as artists and as cultural workers in crises. I know that sometimes it sounds like art and culture is privilege, but we really came to realize that in times of need, our work is necessary for people. Like, they call us, they need us, and when we come, it's sometimes there is nothing left to do, but art and culture does have something to give. And we have some examples for that.
In 2019, we have a huge flood here in Nahariya. The Gaton River was just flood the city. And we made an exhibition of thanks with children and people actually in the street that thank the people that helped them during those days. Just a small exhibition, but it changed the story and how people remember it.
Sometimes in our culture is very much attached to our heritage and the way we tell our shared story. And we didn't want it to just be a sad, terrible story, which it is and was, but also to tell the story about the solidarity and the resilience. And by doing this project, we actually helped people to come out again from their houses and to meet and to say thank you. And for us, that's very meaningful. Yeah, here you can see people participate. COVID, I think we'll skip, but we were doing a lot of art programs and projects during COVID. Some of them were online, some of them were in public space. Our gallery was always open because it cannot be closed. So we kept doing things whenever we could in these 2 years. And here are some pictures from the delegation we sent to the borders of the Ukraines. In the war, we realized a lot of people, some of them are Jewish that are planning to come to Israel because they have no other place to go to, are stuck in the borders and having really terrible days as refugees of war. And we were sending artists in delegation to meet them and to raise their spirit up, and also just be part of the way coming to Israel. And a lot of them really came to Nahariya after it. So we still meet them here after this journey. Now they're having another war here, really traumatizing for many of them. And on the October 7th, we took this experience, and it was very intuitive. I think it was really October 8th, we were already working on it. We established culture during crisis. We just called artists to join us and to support people wherever needed. So we were calling for delegations to go to hotels of evacuees, of people who couldn't stay in their homes anymore or didn't have homes anymore. And we started collecting stories and testimonies, but also just giving workshops, being with children, being with elderlies, not coming for a one-time thing, really being with them for a couple of weeks and giving them some air. So we know how music and theater and art can just open your heart and help processing experiences that are traumatizing. And we were also working with the Trauma Center and with therapists, and together we were trying to give something that is much more whole. Not just therapy, but therapy and art, so that people can, also find another way to show their inner strength and to do it not alone, but with other people. So community resilience. Yeah, thank you. I think in these very, very complicated days, we still have a lot of hope and, well, just simply a lot of work that we're doing. And it's really so great to share. And I think Jewish people around the world are now in need of meeting and discussing our way. And thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much. I'm gonna take this that we did now as an additional recording because our live program didn't record, but we did manage to record the Q&A from the live program. So we'll transition to that now. Just one question maybe before I create that transition. If people want to support you and what you're doing in the city of Nahariya, how can they do that?
Okay, so we will provide the links, of course, but everybody who wants to take part or support, it's very much needed, and can help different programs that we are working on now. Some exist and some are just ideas that we can tell you in another time, and we're all very approachable, so you can just contact us. And
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, let's hope for a quiet coming days and maybe a quieter better future. And it's amazing to see all the good things that you're doing. And thank you for joining us. So
Sure.
I'm going to go back to the earlier questions I had, and we'll run through a few. There was a question about how did the residents of Nahariya accept you as newcomers and movement of people from outside of the city doing stuff in the city?
Mm-hmm. I feel like, it's funny. Sometimes people tell me, I'm not from Nahariya. I just live here for 50 years. So it's funny, like, how can you tell when is the point of being part of a place? It's something that it's really in heart. Was I born here? Did I choose living here? I feel like for me, the answer is that I love the places that I'm choosing to be involved in, and I feel people can see it and can relate to it. So they know that when we do something is not because I don't know, it's not detached from whatever everybody else is feeling. Like if something is happening in the city, we will be involved because I mean it's our home, it's where we live.
And it's what's important to us.
Yeah, we will always be relevant to Nahariya. We're not trying to mimic any other place on earth. I mean, we're very local in this way.
Another question was, you moved there. I mean, you came there when you were 18, you're now 30. Some of the community probably have families and stuff. So the choice to stay, how did your community grow in that way?
It's
Now
challenging now, having small children in a war zone, so close to the border, with so little time to get into a shelter, is very hard. The education system here is not always working during the last months, so it's really hard. And as young parents, you see the well-being of your child above everything. And so we have to be very creative with finding solutions. Some things are online now, some things are a bit different. Sometimes people are taking a break and coming back when it's I mean, sometimes it makes no sense to stay. But overall, let's say we've been here the whole time.
And we're trying to help together to see if anybody needs anything. Just to be together, take care of each other,
Same
children.
Same with neighbors and people around. We just trying to back each other up.
So I think I can get two more questions in. One is, did you notice there was a shift in the attitude towards art since the war started?
Art, we are always trying to make sure that people understand that art is not a privilege. It's something very basic that people need, art and culture.
In any kind of crisis, there question the rising about the place of art and the importance of art.
I feel like for some reason, this time it's actually very much agreed that it is necessary. I don't know why, but people are just, I guess,
after the COVID,
feeling it. Yeah, we are just being asked for it all the time. The need is very much visible. Yeah.
And one last question that was asked was, how come or why isn't Nahariya evacuated?
Oh, that's a good question. Some people still ask that here.
People in Israel, some people in Israel think that the evacuees, רגע, שלא היה צריך להתפנות.
Okay, so
it shouldn't.
People are debating about it.
Yeah.
It's some people say it's important to stay and live near the borders. It's part of the way we defend ourselves by being there. And others say it's better to let the army go forward and the citizens should move to the center. It's very hard to say. Also, I can tell, let's say my parents live norther than here and they're not home for more than a year now. And that's very harsh too. Being away from your home that you had to live in one day, suddenly it's a great challenge. And here, let's say today, or the last weeks, we have to go in shelter twice a day, twice a night, things like that. But we are home, and for some of us, it feels better and safer.
And it's also a really big city. It's like
70,000 people. Where do you want to evacuate them to? Because we already have so many evacuees all over Israel now. So many. So it's really hard.
So we'll end with one question to bring it back to the art. What's your next project or exhibition or the thing that is exciting you right now?
We are working on some new works now.
We have the last 1 year.
We have an upcoming project with an Israeli, artists. Germany. That too. We have some projects coming up. So it's a Germany VR company that are going to come here, and we're going to create a virtual art tour in the Gaton Street. And that's one project. And the other one, we have a
1 year process with 5 artists from all of Israel, doing artistic projects with the communities here in Nahariya. And the exhibition will be open hopefully on January.
It's kind of like a residency program where the artists are getting a budget for a new artwork, and we are working with them, and we also assigned them some mentors from the art field, all very professional artists. But what they do here is, again, very local, very connected to the community. So for us, both things are very important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Even for being here, and especially being here in such a time and on such a day. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who joined. And we look forward to see you in our future programs. Have a good.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shirel. Thanks.
Have a good day, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye.